play that after 10?
We are live. Okay.
But it's weird because it doesn't happen unless I'm there.
Well, hello, lady.
Hi.
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 How's everybody?
Doing great.
Show set up for you guys today. Look at all these amazing guests we have. I would actually, instead of me, I would like you each to introduce yourselves. Can we start with Marie?
Oh, hi. I'm Marie Yates. It's nice to see everybody. I know a couple of you guys already on the show, so it's nice to meet everybody else. I've done TV. I paranormal investigate at Vulture City and do a Paracon every year.
That's great. So we know about the Vulture City Paracon, right? Is there any other ones you do?
Right now, the only Paracon that I put on is the Vulture City Paracon. We do tons of different kinds of events as we go out as like guest speakers and stuff like that. At others, like we have one in Mass Paracon. We have Texas Paracon, so we'll be out there in Texas. I think it's in August, I do believe. They changed all of our schedules so much with COVID. I'm not sure of all the dates, but yes, there's quite a few different other conventions.
So things are still going on.
Yes, so far anything I've heard of after July is actually going on. So I don't know before that. I don't know if any of the other Paracons.
I'm hoping
but I
everything
know-
will be clear
yeah,
by
so-
then. Yeah, that's awesome. So who wants to go next? How about you, Beth?
Okay. I've started investigating I've probably been doing it for 15 years. I kind of did it on my own to start with just some girlfriends. Years later, I met a group of people on a paranormal team, was asked to join, and then we investigated for a bit, broke up, we're another team, and it's all come to now we are on it's Vidi Space. We have a series on Vidi Space. It's been bought out by another company, but it's still ran by Elizabeth Saint, and it's QSOM. I'm not sure how you would say that. I don't know how you say that if you're going to say it as a word. But I'm working on a series now with Nathan with my paranormal experience, and it's going to premiere on that live stream or that streaming service. And basically, we started the series with Para-Unity in mind. We basically a storytelling series where people even just regular people don't even have to be paranormal investigators. Two paranormal investigators, two names that everybody knows, telling a memorable paranormal experience, anywhere from UFOs, ghosts, even all the way to Bigfoot, whatever they tell us about. So that's what our series, and it's going to launch. Started since they revamped Vidi Space. We're now into the editing process with our first episode. So that's where we're at.
Well, that's really cool. We actually just had her on, Elizabeth Saint, on as a guest, and we were talking about Vidi Space. So that's something that we were actually looking at ourselves. Yeah, it's really cool. So how about you, Julia?
Hi, well, I'm Julia SIRACUSA. I'm an empath. I'm sensitive. I grew up in a haunted house. Very familiar with the paranormal, but I guess I really didn't start. I grew up in a haunted house. I kind of like blocked off my gifts because I was traumatized as a child by the man that actually died in our home. So I was so traumatized. I blocked everything off. And then I would say like 2010, we moved into this house in Easton, PA. Grew up in Staten Island, forgot to say that. And it was just, now it's known as the Horsefly Chronicles house, but it was just it was always, they always say like your house chooses you. You don't choose the house. That's kind of like what happened with us. So weird things always were happening, but at that time, because I was so blocked and traumatized as a child, I really did not want to hear nothing. Zero. My husband was like, this thing's going on. I'm like, no. I just had my fourth baby 2 weeks prior to moving into this house. So while all these things were going on, I told my husband, you want to do what you want to do, what you got to do, bring teams in, but I don't want no part of it. And I let him. I went upstairs. I was upstairs with my baby like the entire time. All these teams kept coming here. So after a while, I started, I guess, opening up because of what was happening in the home. And I mean, that's basically it. And, you know, we have a radio show every Wednesday night on Paranormal King Network called The Horsefly Chronicles. And we basically want to do this show to learn. Like that was our whole thing of going into the show.
Now, don't
we
you do
really wanted to. I'm sorry.
Your husband?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes. We do. Yes, we do it together. And you know, we're just all about learning and bringing the best guests forward to learn about, because we're very. I don't have as much experience as of all, like you guys are all amazing. I really don't have that much experience, but it's a learning process for us right now.
We all started somewhere.
We all started
That's
somewhere.
true.
Exactly.
So that's amazing. So you're saying that you actually grew up in a haunted house and then later you bought a haunted house.
Yes.
It's funny that you say that because in the intro, I don't know if you saw, but I said I don't know if it's the house that's haunted or if it's me. So,
And you know, I love that topic, and that sold me on this whole show because it is so true. It's so true. Is it you or is it the house?
Yes.
That's
I've
true.
never lived in, we have
Yeah.
activities. So I'm convinced. I think it's something that just sort of like runs down in your family and it stays with you. And there's way too many, at least my family, that has this gift. And it's older people my age. I'm 50. And my kids, as well as my sister's kids and nephews and nieces, it highly runs in my family. So I'm convinced it runs in families.
It runs in mine too, but I wasn't really aware of any of that until like I really until I moved into this house, because I kind of blocked myself off at the age of 12 because it was so traumatic.
So you're still in the same house?
What?
Are you still in the same house?
We're still in the same house, and I mean, I can get to that story if you want me to get to it later on or now, but yeah, we're still.
I want to definitely hear about it. So let's move on to Linda and see what Linda has going on.
Hi.
Hi.
I'm Linda Anthony Hill. I own a house you might have heard of. It's called Hill House Manor. It's in Texas, and it's a haunted house, verified by every investigator that's been there. And that's a lot. We've got a group over there tonight that I did a tour for them before we started. And they're not even investigators. They're just people that wanted to experience a haunted house. And they already had activity before I left.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. There's some people that, you know, the topic of, is it near the house? I've had a lot of haunted properties. Not homes, but I've had a business, 2 businesses that the property turned out to be haunted. Things would happen that were just inexplicable.
Yeah.
And I see all these people that come to Hill House Manor that don't come from haunted environment, but they get evidence at Hill House Manor. It's the house. Some people have more experience than others. And in that, sometimes I can look at a person and I know that they've brought their own with them and they're going to have a great time. Yeah. We don't have to be haunted. They're going to have a good time.
I think it definitely how sensitive you are to the paranormal of how much activity you're really going to have. At least that's my experience.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I'm also an author. I've written several paranormal books.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, yeah.
What are they? What are they called?
The first one in the series is called The Anchor is the Key. And the series is about Madame Celeste, who is a psychic who lives in a small town. And she gets into situations where she's just in the middle of a plot. You know, someone's died or someone's about to die or whatever, and she gets pulled in. And she, in the first book, she makes friends with a spirit that didn't know how old he was. And she kind of helps him and he kind of helps her. And then he's in the rest of the series as well. They work together. She also has an assistant who she is teaching about the paranormal, and I don't want to call it witchcraft because she's a solitary. There's no coven, there's no book except the books that she writes about her experiences. Anyway, that's the 3 paranormal. I've got one, my most recent book is a group of short stories. It's called Hill House Manor, 13 Ghost Stories.
Oh, cool.
And
Wow.
they're short stories that are inspired by things people have told me about Hill House Manor.
Oh, that's amazing. We'll have to post those on our page so that way everybody knows about your book. For sure.
Thank you. That would be great.
So let's hear from Kimberly. What do you have going on, Kimberly?
Actually, while I'm kind of sitting here, hello everybody, by the way.
Hi.
I'm kind of going to take a little bit from all of you. I also grew up in a haunted house, and this started very early for me. And I had kind of a thought the other day. I was like, hey, when did this actually kind of get started for me? I was talking to somebody I know, and I said, hey, when did you actually get started in the paranormal industry? And I started thinking about that for a minute, and I realized it was like when I was way under 10 years old. I was actually supposed to be kind of hanging out at a Bible camp that I went to, and instead of like hanging out, I lived in Alaska actually, so I grew up in Anchorage. And we have a lot of like old abandoned cabins, mines, you know, of course, all the gold rush and all that stuff. So I actually would take off all the time and go down this path. And there was this really super old cabin that had been abandoned with like everything in it. And I would always kind of like try to get inside and start investigating. So this started pretty early for me. I lived in a haunted house as well, so I can relate to each of you ladies. It was extremely dark. That's when I actually started to kind of close off my gifts a little bit because it was quite terrifying. That entity actually I would classify to be quite dark and quite heavy. And I'll kind of use the D word here because I use that very lightly, but it was bad. I used to kind of see the feet. There was like claws, and it would be underneath the doorway, and the whole door would light up, even though the door was closed, and you could kind of see feet underneath it. So I also grew up in a haunted house, and it kind of got started for me. It terrorized me a little bit, but of course I'm a sensitive and an empath. I know each of you have mentioned things like that too. But I live and breathe this. I can't get enough. I love the paranormal. My day job is a real estate agent, so it's quite interesting for me because I'm in literally, you know, thousands of properties over the years. And, you know, of course, my other parts of my job is I do, you know, clearings, space clearings. I actually do work as a professional licensed psychic tarot reader, energy worker, and I'm also a shamanic practitioner, but I also do a lot of space clearing and house clearing. So I do get called out for those types of things. And of course, I actively paranormal investigate every opportunity as much as I can. So I love every aspect of it. I think you're kind of born to it. Jackie, you mentioned it too. It's kind of like it runs in your family. My grandparents lived in a very small town in Minnesota. They were farmers, and their old haunted farmhouse. I used to hate to sleep there. They'd put me in the bed up at the top of the stairs, and I'd scream in the middle of the night, you know, because there was something coming up the stairs. And, you know, I do think it travels in families because each of my family members are pretty gifted as well. And of course, sometimes they don't talk about it at the time, but later you'll start to hear the stories where everybody had been seeing stuff and, you know, but that's it for now. But I love it. So I'm glad to be here today. So thanks for having this live feed.
Absolutely.
Hi, Marie. Hi, everybody who I haven't met yet.
And welcome to the show. Just popped in. I have a quick question for you, Kimberly, on that matter. Does it run in both sides of your parents' family? Because it only runs in one side of my dad's.
Wait, hold on a minute. Hold on, lady. There's some kind of a background noise.
Yeah.
Can we tell?
Maybe everybody could mute. Maybe everybody could mute their mic on the bottom of the screen. That might help. When they're not talking, that got rid of it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So when we get to that person and we find out where it's coming from, we'll go ahead and have them lower it or whatever. But go ahead.
Okay.
Jackie.
Okay, I was just wondering if it ran on one side of Kimberly's family, because in my family, it's like my dad's side of the family and not so much my mom's. So I was just wondering, does it go on one or both?
It actually, good question. It actually runs on both sides of my family. I didn't realize this at the time, but I always knew that there was something with my grandfather, and he's like, you know, Scandinavian, came over right from the country, and he would always be very quiet and observant. And again, he was the one that was in that farmhouse, and he would just sit in a chair and literally sit around and watch everybody. You know, nothing got past that man. And I didn't realize until he crossed over into spirit when I, you know, went to a couple of events, where there was psychic medium present, and it was just an event, and he came through both times. And so I know my dad has the gift. He actually calls this, I'm sure a lot of you guys have family members that have nice labels for the things that you're interested in or that you do. But my family calls what I do voodoo.
Well, my parents are from the South, in New Orleans, so voodoo is a big thing in my family.
It's great. I'm like, good. Yeah, they do the voodoo. But yeah, my dad's very gifted. He probably just, dad is gifted. I don't think he puts a label on it, to be honest with you. You know, I think it's just one of those things where he says, oh, I'm just kind of good at, reading people, or people like to tell me things. But he's one of those people where he'll listen to you talk for a minute and then he just pops out with that sentence, the right thing you need to hear. So I do think it runs on both sides.
Oh, that's really cool. So how about you, Kirsten? Tell us what's going on with you.
Well, compared to the rest of you ladies, I guess I'm kind of the newbie here, I guess. I've been ghost hunting for about 7 years.
That's great.
I really got started into it when I lost a couple of family members, and I needed to figure out where they were. You just kind of want to know. And I just kind of jumped in, and I've always been a sensitive, always been an empath. I'm a physical medium, so I feel everything that happens in the spirit realm, which is sometimes kind of unpleasant, but you get used to it. At least it's toned down a little bit for me. I don't know if it's like that for everyone else, but it's toned down a bit for me. So I get about it, I'd say like a 1/10 of probably what it really was. I started my own team because, there really are no teams up here. I wonder why, being in northern Minnesota. I mean, it's really cold, so you only get to investigate so many months out of the year. But we do as much as we possibly can with the warm weather, and do as much of our outdoor work then, and then we run around and do everything else in the summertime. It's not too bad, but in the wintertime it's more limited here. But we do have a lot of great locations.
But you're a photographer for the paranormal, is that right?
Yes, that's true. And we really specialize in some unique techniques that other people haven't tried or haven't developed yet. We're working on getting some different kinds of unique methods so that people can really see them. I think that visualizing the spirits really does take and bring it home for a lot of people. Yeah,
it's nice to hear something different.
yeah, and
I've been in for a really long time.
We're doing connects right now, and that's actually because our tech guy he threw himself into connects big time, and he does everything in a big way. So we're kind of watching him coming up with different ideas and different approaches. We're using now multiple units on fixed locations, and it's really coming out fun. You guys should try it. It's kind of cool.
That's really cool. That's very interesting.
We're getting a lot of interaction. I think it would be if you really know of a place where there's a portal, if you try to focus in on that. I mean, we just recently did an investigation where we had a spirit holding our new member's hand. He was cool about it. He was white as a sheet, but he was cool with it. And that spirit held his hand and kind of was rubbing his arm a little bit. And he could feel it. He reported feeling it. So it was really neat to see that connection. And I think it brings it home to a lot of people.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Mm-hmm.
How about you, Savina? What's going on in your world?
Don't forget to unmute. Unmute it.
Can you hear me?
Yes. Yeah.
All right. Well, I've been doing paranormal for maybe about 15 years off and on. I try to do as much as I can. It's really hard for me down here where I live because I don't have anybody that does it but me and a couple of people. So it's
where do you live?
I live, you know where South Padre Island is in Texas? No? I live right next to Mexico. I'm literally like 10 minutes from the border. So there's groups here and there, but what I do travel a lot. So I meet up with a lot of people, and I like to go in paranormal investigating, in other states. It's easier for me. But I've been doing it for a good while. The reason that I got into it was because when I was younger, I would have recurring dreams, things that would happen, and then they would happen in real life. At first, I was just like, I don't know, it's just a dream. But then my mom passed away when I was 12. So when my mom passed away, her funeral happened. And then about 3 days later, I heard her coming up the stairs because we had a two-story home. So she was coming up the stairs and my nickname was Vinny. So she was like, Vinny, breakfast is ready. So ever since then, it just brought me in, like it drew me in. And she comes to me a lot and she gives me visions and she gives me messages to pass on. So that's what got me into this. But I love doing it. I can sense things. I can feel things. I haven't really delved too much into it because I get sidetracked a lot. I really want to learn more though. Like, I want to develop my skill more. I can interpret messages for other people if I sit down and I really focus on it. And I've tested myself. I've gotten guinea pigs. I've asked friends, ask me whatever you want. Who do you want me to talk to? And for some reason, I'm able to connect. So I know I have it. I just don't know how to engage it 100%. But I am able to put it away as well. I love doing it. It's just something that I enjoy. And my kids love it too. That's a good part. When we travel, they get involved as well. They start searching. They start, Googling the place, especially the history. I love history. I love the history on places. Currently, right now, I'm part of a team out of Massachusetts, though. They wanted me to be their historian. But
far.
In Boston, they're called Paranormal Destination, I believe. I need to look because they just added me like a month ago. It's with Glenn. I'm not sure if you know Glenn Rocca.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Yes. So he added me on because he wanted me, because he always tells me, I see how you love history. You're always looking into it. So he added me on, but it's really tough for me because we're kind of far apart.
Yeah.
But other than that, I mean, that's why I love doing it. And then, I could relate to Kimberly because my grandma was the same. When you started talking about your grandpa that he would just watch, now I understand why my grandma would just sit there and I would get like an eerie feeling, but she would just stare and I felt like she was looking into my soul. So I can relate. But yeah, that's where I'm at. And during the day I work at a mechanic shop. So I'm just working on cars.
That's a whole different world.
Yes. Yeah. But that's me.
That's awesome. Well, Patti just jumped in perfect timing, Patti.
Hi, everybody. Hi. I'm like, am I supposed to be somewhere? It's one of those weeks.
Our guests just introduce themselves and tell our audience who you are and what you do and what's going on in your world. So go ahead.
Okay, my name is Patti Negri. I am a psychic. I am a medium, and I go by the word Good Witch. I'm a big fan of Wizard of Oz, and I work positive magic only. My whole life, born this way. I'm a writer. I have a book, Old World Magic for the Modern World, which is good, bestseller. I'm on a TV show all the time called Ghost Adventures with Zach and the crew. I've also been filming with a whole lot of YouTubers. Oh my God, 2 nights ago, we spent the night at the Cecil Hotel on the roof, did my first seance there. It's going to air in a couple weeks. Insane. I did the Ghost Adventures there too. The one playing now, and that place is insane.
Wow.
And that's it. I have a network launching this week. It's called Paraflix. It's going to be at the Netflix of the paranormal, all the time. Horror, paranormal, even music videos, spirituality, paraflix.com. And we have Android and Apple. They're beautiful, beautiful apps. I can't believe I own a network.
That's you? Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I'm 1/3 of Paraflix. Yeah.
Oh, that's
Wow.
amazing. I literally just learned that you are into like stand-up comedy and like theater. Is that right?
I'm a Hollywood girl. I still have. I run a production company for the last 20 years.
Okay.
I'm not stand-up. I was improv and sketch. I was a regular at the Comedy Store. I was a regular at famous LA places, the Laugh Factory, the Ice House. I toured nationally with the group called the Kamikazes. The longest lasting comedy sketch improv group who didn't end up on Saturday Night Live. But Spirit kept leaving me here.
a theater major. So when I saw that, I was like, oh my gosh, that's so funny.
Yeah. Yeah. I just used to keep this world really separate, because I was an actor. Yes, I did lots of television. I did movies and blah, blah, blah. And I had my production company, which was very corporate. But my psychic world, my medium world, my witchy world, especially my corporate, I produce big corporate. They can't know that I, dance around bonfires and talk to dead people. They just can't know that. But that was a part of my life. But in 2008, when that big corporate crash hit and corporate entertainment became a dirty word, we were doing song and dance extravaganzas across the country, across the world, and reality TV was going like this. And I remember somebody called me and said, Patti, we know you're known for your seances. We need a legit person to do a seance on a TV show. I'm like, nope, won't do it. I won't do it. I can't combine that life. Part of my life is private. They're going, oh, please. Like, no, can't do it. Please. And I'm looking at my production company, like, I got nothing. And I go, well, what's the name of the show? They go, it's called Mobile Home Disaster, and it's on country music television. I'm like, well, nobody's going to watch that. I watch that. Again, early days of, and I had so much fun. Oh my God, 3-camera shoot. They follow you around. You don't have to memorize lines. I get to be my real me. My thing isn't about convincing anybody of anything, but letting people know how magical they are, how empowered they are. We are these free will, amazing beings. So it's like, and I could do that through a stupid reality show. So
tornadoes in the South, Patti.
Oh, so
you have no more mobile home.
But I remember when it's like, okay, this was really fun. I love the genre. It works with my sketch and improv background. It works with my legitimacy in the psychic medium world, to give a good example, but never again. And then I remember it aired, and my first corporate client called. It's like some big national bank I worked for all the time, doing shows for. And she's like, I saw you on TV last night. I'm like, I'm never going to work for this bank again. I didn't know you were the paranormal. I'm like, yeah. She's like, I'm not the paranormal. And it didn't hurt the relationship. It didn't hurt. But that world continued to go like this. And then once I'm out of the closet. I'm out of the psychic closet. I'm out of the medium closet. I'm out of the broom closet. This is me. And so me already being established in Hollywood, okay, I know how to do camera. I know how to hit marks. I know how to talk in sound bites. I know what this, and I'm legit. I started doing like every show from, Pit Boss to Bad Girls Club to Flipping Out to Beverly Hills. I mean, stupid shows, fun shows. And I get to love to bring a little legitimate magic to these shows, and I do lots of them. It's just the only one people watch is Ghost Adventures.
Well, it sounds like you have a lot of fun.
I have a blast. Yes, I love it.
That's awesome. And I want to say the reason why we actually have all these beautiful women on our show today is because it's Women Appreciation Week. And I want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart for all of you coming on the show and everything you do in the paranormal.
Yes.
So, thank you. We really appreciate you all, and all the women in the paranormal, and all the women in the world, women in our lives. So, yeah.
Well, I have a special treat for everyone. Carissa Simpson from Chill Seeker couldn't be here, but she made us a cute little clip. So I'm going to go ahead and play that now. All right.
Yes.
Here to celebrate Women's History Month. Now, some say the paranormal community is a man's world in itself, and I'm here to say that there are many highly regarded women in the paranormal, and I'm here to showcase a few of them. The succubus, a demon or entity that appears in female form to seduce men in their dreams. Repeated sexual encounters with a succubus have left men in states of mental and physical exhaustion. Succubi have been blamed in the past for stealing men's semen and menacingly impregnating neighboring women outside of the man's marriage. Honey, I swear, it wasn't me, it was a succubus. The Lady in White, a true paranormal trope. Many cultures across the world have a Lady in White legend of some sort, with backstories ranging from hopeless victim to homicidal maniac. A most notable Lady in White is La Llorona. This weedy, vengeful spirit is a mother who drowned her kids in a grievous rage after they were all abandoned by her husband. Legend has it, she still searches for her kids, often kidnapping unsuspecting children. Bloody Mary. Folklore says Bloody Mary was a witch from the Salem trials, a murder victim, or even Queen Mary I of England. Maybe she'll tell you if you say her name 3 times in front of a mirror. The night hag. Many cultures have legends of an old hag that sits upon a sleeping victim's chest, causing sleep paralysis and nightmares. Lizzie Borden. A more recent legend, Lizzie Borden is known to haunt her former home where she reportedly murdered her parents with an axe. Was she an angry psycho or a victim that met her breaking point? Any investigators traveling to Fall River, Massachusetts can ask her, as the house is now a bed and breakfast that welcomes curious travelers. Throughout history, female spirits have been blamed for anything and everything from headaches to adultery to murder. All jokes aside, I am so proud to be a female paranormal investigator. But it does feel a little true, what I said earlier about it being a man's world. Though us women make up a large number of enthusiasts and investigators, you don't see too many of us represented in the spotlight of mainstream media or conventions. So I say with pride, ladies, happy Women's History Month. Let's keep pushing forward like the pioneers before us, like Cora Scott and Lorraine Warren. We are the descendants of the women they didn't burn.
Aw,
I love that.
That was great.
Thank you, Carissa, for listening.
So I know a few of you said earlier how you got started, and I'm just wondering how everybody else got started in the paranormal. Who wants to jump in and talk about how they got started?
Look at us all go.
Nobody.
I already
This
talked
many
about
women
it. I
and
talked
nobody.
about it again.
Silence with this many women. That's amazing.
We're so polite.
I'll go ahead. I think I was probably about 11 the first time I saw a spirit, and it was actually the spirit of my grandfather's dog. I remember laying in bed, and he had passed, and this dog and my grandfather were tight. They were best buds, and he loved us all, the whole family. Great dog. So the first time I saw him, like I said, he had passed, and I saw him in the doorway outside of my grandpa's bedroom in the middle of the night, and I just saw the outline of him, but I knew it was him. The second time I had an experience, I was 13, and actually I was too young to be sitting with a boy out in the country, but that's what I was doing. and we saw it too, and it was like, the only way I can explain what I saw is the part on Ghostbusters where the man's running down the like he's the jogger. Do you know what I'm talking about? And he's running, and he checks his pulse, and he keeps running. That's exactly what he looked like to me.
Oh, wow.
It was out in the middle of the country, and he ran up one side of a barbed wire fence, turned the corner, went right past the tailgate of the pickup where we were, and went back up the other side of another barbed wire fence. And literally, like, he jumped off the bed of the tailgate of the pickup, and we saw him at the same time, and like he was freaking out and looking around, so we both saw him at the same time.
Wow.
Oh.
Yeah, so that was the first time I ever had experience, and then nothing until I was probably after I was married, and I think I was probably 25. So my girlfriends, we'd go to Jefferson, Texas a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And if y'all have never been there, that town is fantastically haunted. Like the whole town.
I'm actually going camping there next week.
Yes. So, and I recommend going there it's just a beautiful little town. So we started going there, met a couple of people there and investigated. Later on, I came onto a team a couple of towns away from me, like I said, and then started investigating with Buried Secrets Paranormal. I think I've been with them for 10 years, and it's been pretty interesting. So that's my experience.
Now, okay, so Marie, we know you've been in the paranormal for quite some time, and you and Patti have been on everything. How did you get started?
Well, that's a funny story. Growing up, I honestly have never had a paranormal experience. It wasn't until I actually met Jay. Everybody knows us more or less by Jay Marie Yates. But when we actually met is when I really started knowing about the paranormal, because he told me exactly what everything he experienced and what he went through his whole life and all this stuff. And I'm like, okay, well, you know, the funny thing is, if you've ever met Jay, you honestly know he's like, he just, his eyes tell you he's speaking the truth. So it's like, oh my goodness, okay, this guy's really weird. I mean, he's strange, but I don't know. And my son, I have an autistic son at the time from a previous marriage, and he always talked to things. And I just assumed because he was autistic, mentally ill, it was because of that all the time. But when Jay and I started dating, him and my son bonded, and I actually started getting jealous because it's like he was a mama's boy for so long, and then when Jay came along, they bonded so well, and it's like he's seen exactly what my son's seen, and so that's when I started like learning and reading and trying to do research into the paranormal. It wasn't until almost, I think it was Jay, I think, was getting ready to propose to me at marriage, and he sat me down and was telling me all the stories he went through. And I will tell you, it was a very long night because he's had a lot of experiences. That was my first experiences that evening. He had like a man cave in our garage area, and this refrigerator, I'm telling you, it's a freezer and refrigerator, and the freezer like stuck so hard. I always threw a fit. I would never want to open it because it was so hard to open. Well, we were sitting down just talking, and he's talking about his experiences and stuff. And all of a sudden, the freezer pops right open, and food starts getting thrown at us. And I'm like, wait a second. I mean, I'm like, okay, I'm the type. Till this day, I will try to debunk everything. So I'm like, okay, there's something happened. It's sweating. The refrigerator's not working. Something. So we put it all back and started doing it again. It did it like 3 or 4 times. Later on that evening, I went to go check on my children. And that was the first time I ever seen like a creature. I call it a creature. Jay calls it a whole bunch of different stuff when he talks about it. It just looked like a gargoyle on one of those like on a castle thing. Oh my goodness, it was so gross looking. But it was like not even to the size of my knee, to be honest with you. And it ran from like it was in my house and ran on the opposite
Marie,
side.
you should have ran.
Well, all I thought about was I ran to my kids. And
we've seen that too
with my kids, but my kids were sound asleep. So that was the first time. And at the same time, our lights in our patio and our backyard was going on and off. And then a couple things blew. So, I mean, that was the first time. Can I say exactly what it was? No. But after that, it never stopped. I will honestly say, I think people that open up the paranormal, you're sort of more attuned to it. And that's what happened with me, with being married to Jay.
Well, that just proves right there how much you love him. You stayed.
Yes, I must love him a lot because I did. I always say, I mean, to be honest with you, he brought me, I was into the light, and then he brought me into the darkness because I wasn't part of that at all. So it's like a thing. I said the only ghost I ever seen growing up was Casper the Friendly Ghost on TV. So, I mean, the whole TV thing wasn't supposed to happen. We had our own demonic thing that happened in our own home. Really didn't have much help. And now I totally understand why the paranormal teams and all that didn't help us, because I actually am grateful for them now. But back then we were mad. Like, why won't no one help us? But I think it just after that, a couple TV shows, seen a couple things that we put on TV. I mean, on the internet, and pulled us up. We worked with Ghost Adventures. We actually just got done filming with them again, so you guys will see them out somewhere really cool. So, but yeah, I mean, Haunted Case Files has been my one thing that I truly love doing with everybody. We had an amazing cast on Haunted Case Files, so that was an awesome times. Yeah, we're hoping for season 3. Hopefully COVID didn't ruin it.
Yeah, I know COVID just stuck it to all of us.
I know, but
horrible.
Yeah, I mean, now I deal with everything. I will say I'm an empath. I hear things. I'm a medium and everything. I don't really announce that very often. I'm very scientific. So
Well, I have a question for you, Marie, since you told us that story, and that would have scared the hell out of me. Okay. And I grew up in paranormal, so I don't know how in the world you stuck around, but you did.
Yes.
And but what does scare you?
To be honest with you, I mean, unless it's probably flying birds. I don't like birds that fly above me or bats or anything like that. The darkness
Oh, really?
and all that really doesn't scare me. I will honestly.
Oh, wow.
Jay's the screamer. So I'm a screamer. Everybody always hears like a girl. You hear like a girl screaming, it's usually Jay. It ain't me. So
that might be an interesting topic to talk about tonight. How are men and women different in actual ghost hunts? Like, are men more scared?
That's a good question.
I know Jay hates the dark, to be honest with you. A lot of people don't know this about Jay. Like, he is petrified of the dark. But it's like, as a paranormal investigator and we go through, I mean, it's something you just deal with. But like I always say, tell him, it's, you know what, ghosts are here during the day, night, and everything. So yes. We can investigate during the day as well.
I work with Nathan Withers. He's way more dramatic than I am.
I know Nathan.
Quiet.
Oh, that's funny.
I'm like, shit, you know, or something like that. But he's like, whoa, did you hear that? I'm like, dude, calm down.
How about the rest of you? Is there anything at all that scares you?
Mice.
So it's not really anything in the paranormal.
Mice or mice?
Mice.
Rats.
I can deal with anything. I can put a ghost, anything. I don't care. But you put them. I see a mouse. I'm done. I'm out. It's so weird.
Don't come to my house. We have a big rat that keeps running back and forth from my neighbors to our patio.
You know, it's just weird how like the ghosts don't scare us, but then like you put a bird or a mouse or a spider, and then we're all like freaking out. Right?
Yeah. Oh, then don't go to the Cecil Hotel. There's like possessed rats outside of it.
Possessed
The
rats.
first time I went there, he wouldn't let me in. I'm like, I got a call time. I'd go right, the rat would go right. I'd go left, the rat would. We're dancing. We're dancing in the middle of the road in front of the Cecil Hotel. I'm like, I go, either he's possessed or he's warding me. I don't know. And then I was there.
Patty, you were the rat.
I know. I don't know. I was the rat. And then I was there 2 nights ago, and the whole different show. And we spent the whole night. And the same thing. I get out of my car. Rats, big, huge downtown rats everywhere, circling around my feet.
Oh man, I would die.
Oh my
I
god!
like to get in with a ghost.
Oh, you can't.
Rats, lots of rats.
Anybody else? What are you guys afraid of?
Hold on just a second. Just so you know, Kim is muted.
Kim?
Vina is muted. So you could why don't you try unmuting? So maybe that noise went away.
Hi, Scott. Okay, I just have to say really fast, we have Women Appreciation Week, and Scott Grunwald's probably one of my favorite women in the entire world. Love you, Scott.
Love you, Scott.
And the lady bits. So anyway, go on. Who's afraid of something in the paranormal? Anybody, or is it just?
Well, I am.
Are you?
Yes. I used to meet people at the house. I would get to Hill House Manor before everybody else and kind of tidy up and just get things set. And one night I was in a room next to a room near the door, and I was messing with some books, and I heard someone open the door behind me, and I could see them out of the corner of my eye walking up to the doorway, just, right behind me. And I turned to greet them because I thought, okay, they're early. And there was no one there. And then I went and checked the door, and the door was locked. So there was no way someone had come in the house and, tried to trick me or something. And I kept trying to work in the house, but it had scared me really deep for some reason. And, sometimes I've had a conversation just, 4 feet away and thinking I was talking to a person, and then found out later I was not. So I've been through some things, but this one particular time, it scared me. And I don't go over there and meet people at the house anymore. I make them text me, and then I'll go let them in. But I don't sit in the house, especially in the wintertime when it gets dark at, like 4 o'clock in the afternoon. I won't sit and wait in the house for people anymore, because that's not the only time something like that has happened. But it scares me.
Oh, I can understand. It's because you're not really a paranormal investigator. You allow investigators to come in.
Right.
You don't want that as what's going on.
Not necessarily, no.
So how about you? Okay, Kimberly, what is there anything going on with you? Like, do you hear anything in the paranormal, or is it something else?
Kim's muted.
Kim, can you hear us?
Oh.
Did we lose her?
Yeah, and she's still muted. I don't know if she knows.
SAVINA, can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, why don't you tell us? Is there anything at all that you're afraid of in the paranormal or otherwise?
No, I'm afraid of birds. That's it.
Agree with you.
What is with the bird?
I can't stand birds.
Is it that you're afraid they're going to poop on you? What is it?
Well, they poop on me too, but I feel like they're going to attack me. I don't know.
So funny.
Birds, right? How about you, Kristen? Is it Kirsten?
Kirsten, but
Kirsten.
actually,
Okay.
I'm only. That's okay. Don't worry about it. I answered anything. Actually, I'm only really afraid of like spiders and parasites, like wood ticks. That grosses me out. I don't like wood ticks at all. That's the only time you'll see me jump around or freak out. But one other thing I don't really like is when something jumps on you out of a dead sleep. And that I've been attacked in the middle of the night when you're really sleeping good, and that is terrifying a little bit because you're not really ready for it.
Yeah,
It happened to my brother. I don't know, the old hag thing really rang true with me with that video. My brother was attacked 3 times by an old hag.
Wow.
I
So-
actually had that sleep paralysis happen to me one time, and it scared me to death. And
Did you see it? Did you see it? He saw it.
See it. And it was, you know what's really bizarre is I'm a side sleeper, and I every day, every morning, I always wake up. I'm always on my right side. I just sleep like a little infant. I curl up in a ball. Never fails until I wake up every day. I woke up this day laying flat on my back. My body was as straight as a board, and my arms were crossed, and the blankets were literally up to my chin, which is very weird for me. And when I woke, it was like
Wow.
down. And it scared me out of my mind. And the weird thing was I had just purchased 2 items from an haunted collector's auction, and I brought them into my home the day before. So as soon as that happened, I was like, here you go. Someone else can have these. I don't know if anything like that's ever happened to you, but outside of that, I fear snakes immensely. So if any of you have snakes around you, I'm not coming over.
I used to have a lot of them because of my son. He was always bringing home snakes, and I'm like, oh my goodness. But
Snakes are sweet.
My 7-year-old daughter is obsessed with snake videos, and I can't even stand walking in the room, and I'll go, you're watching
I
snake
can't watch it. I can't.
Yeah, I just wanted to make a really quick comment about something that Marie had said earlier. I also have a 12-year-old autistic child, and I know Marie and I have talked a little bit about this before. And the really strange thing is I have 5 kids. I have 3 older children and 2 younger children. And out of all my kids, my 12-year-old autistic son is the only one who has paranormal experiences. It's very interesting. But it's been ever since he was very, very small. We started noticing him pointing at things. He would hide from things, cry when it would always be one corner of our house. every single day for like a solid year till we sold the house. And then it started turning into other things. But when he was probably about, I would say 5 or 6 years old, he started telling me about his past life. And I thought that was really interesting. So I don't know.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
My son is autistic too, you guys, so.
I also have a 16-year autistic son as well.
Oh,
And it's so
mine's
true.
13.
Does he have paranormal things
They're
happen?
very open. Yeah.
Yes, they are.
My son's shown some, off and on. My little one, actually, they say he's slightly autistic, but he's very gifted. He sees stuff all the time. It's actually kind of, I'm trying to teach him how to use it now.
Oh,
so he
that's
doesn't get afraid of it. Yeah. Now he sort of likes it, so he's a spooky little kid. It's actually kind of fun.
Well, I have to tell you one really super
I
quick
have
thing.
4 boys.
Oh, you
boys.
have-
And they are all gifted. So you can only imagine when you have 4 of them at the same time telling this and telling me that story. And I'm like, oh my goodness. Yeah.
Well, my son has this interesting side to him that he did this at school one day. They had like story time. This is probably about 2 years ago. And he went over to this little marble table. He made a pentagram with marble. He sat in the middle of it like this, and he says, "I'm summoning Houdini."
That's so cute.
He says, "We were just wondering if maybe you worship the devil."
Oh, I've heard that.
Like, who told you? Who let that out? No, I'm kidding. But so I was like, no, I don't worship the devil. Why would you even ask me such a thing? And then when okay, I'm in the paranormal. This is very normal for our household.
They ask the funniest questions, don't they?
Does anyone have any questions of the panel?
Well, since we're all here together, like I said, on Women Appreciation Day, is there anyone that you would like to say that you appreciate, or someone that maybe molded you into who you are?
For sure. My mom was so open to everything. She let me bring home all the spooky books from the library, and she'd even get heat from it from my grandma off and on, but she didn't care. She said, let her learn about it. You know, let her decide what she wants to do.
That's
and
awesome.
that was cool. I think that was really cool of her. It takes a lot of strength to allow your children to be who they are.
Yes.
Beautiful.
So all the families, do they support? You guys all get support in the paranormal?
Yes.
Yes.
That's awesome.
Yes and no.
Patty? I see Patty shaking her head.
Yeah.
Yes
No.
and no.
What about you, Patty? Who is your...
Oh no, my mom too, because my mom it was never taught out of me. I was never told I was evil when I was talking to dead people when I was 3 or 4, or doing seances in the hall at 7. And my mom would just go, "Yeah, Grandma did that." Yeah, Grandma did that too. So it's in the blood. Yeah, moms are the best. They can be amazing. And all of you who are moms, I salute you. I can't imagine having anything except a fur baby or a haunted doll. Children, that's a lot. So my kudos to all of you.
Too. So that's a big task. So I don't know if anybody else single moms, but me 5 by myself.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
I do say I hate to be the last one here and the first one to leave, though, but I was really confused about today. I just got off my podcast and I have to go teach a class. But I was like, I'll come in for a minute.
Well, thank you so much for coming.
Thank you. You guys are all amazing. Bye. It's good to see you guys. Awesome.
Nice meeting you.
Nice meeting everybody. And thank you guys for doing this for the women, because there does need to be more of us.
Yes.
Paraflix is going to have more women. I'm going to tell you. And you guys have good content. Come to us. We put it up. We have a lot more women. Paraflix, yeah. the app's up. It's crazy. So I love you all. Thank you for doing this. Thank you for women.
Thank you so much for
Wish I
coming.
could stay, but
Great.
Have a
bye,
great night.
bye, girls. Bye, ladies.
Bye.
Bye, Scott. I see you there. I was just trying to figure out who said sit like a lady.
He said he was at the Cecil Hotel with one of you.
Yeah.
Sit like a lady.
And I looked down and I was like, my legs are spread. It's like, is he talking to me? He's got X-ray eyes. Okay.
I thought me for everything.
Bye, guys.
Ciao.
Take care, Patty.
Bye.
Thanks again.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye. So how about the rest of you? Let's hear what is going on with your moms or any other women. Who do you guys appreciate and who's molded you into who you are?
My team founder of paranormal group that I'm the Buried Secret. Her name's Melody. She's 71 years old. Not be happy with my on her age.
Beth, hold on a minute.
I can't hear what you're saying.
Yeah, move closer maybe.
And can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yeah, my phone. That's probably.
Oh, it's still a little bit.
Oh, okay. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
That's better. Or it was.
It was.
Okay.
Oh,
It's
now
okay. We'll come back. We can't hear you, so we'll come right back to you. But how about you, Marie?
To be honest with you, there's so many amazing women in the paranormal field that I will honestly say that has, there's not just one. I mean, with us working as a couple all the time, it's usually working with other couples or, like that usually or other things. But I will tell you, Teresa Lynch, I will tell you, she brought me to another world where Jay and I always were the type that no protection. We don't need any kind of paranormal protection. We can do it all this kind of stuff. But I ended up being really sick and got immune disease. So it is really hard to live with immune disease and, get sick a lot. So I'm like, well, maybe we should start using some protection here somehow. I don't really believe in crystals, and I know it works for so many other people. And I'm not saying it's not. It's just for us. I don't believe in enough for it to work. So Teresa taught me a lot of different methods to be able to relax myself and stuff like that. So I will say she's an amazing lady. I will say that assisted me. Patti is another one I've met I don't know how many times. She's actually going to be out at Vulture City Paracon, and I can't wait to have her out there. She teaches you balance between real life and the paranormal. And I really like that. And sometimes it's very hard when paranormal is your job and you have, and then you're gifted as well in a way. So it's like, it's very hard to be, just a mom and go into a football game and not think about anything else or something like that. So Patti, watching her and, learning from her, she taught me the difference between that stuff. So that's another amazing woman in the paranormal field. But there's so many. I will honestly tell you, I mean, Lorraine Warren, I've read almost everything and watched everything of her. I think she's an icon. I'm so glad that I'm really close with her nephew, John Zappis. I mean, it's amazing. Some of the women, I mean, all you women, I mean, I've seen a lot of you on Facebook, to be honest with you. I've seen a lot of other people's shows and radio shows. I tried to. So, I mean, the paranormal field does need it a lot more. And I honestly will say I've seen a lot of other men stepping up and letting the women take, the look of the highlight instead of the men. So it's nice to see that.
It's nice to see that.
I think that there are a lot more women in paranormal than anybody suspects. I host teams, week after week, I host teams and groups, and the majority of the people that come to the house are women, and the team leaders are women. The psychics I know, except for Dakota, are women. There's a lot of women in the field, if you want to call it a field. Community.
But it seems like it seems male dominated in a lot of ways as well. I mean, it feels male dominated still on television
I'm sure it
shows a
is
lot.
on TV, but
Yeah.
in real life,
In real life, yes.
it's women.
We're
It's
out
women
there. Yep.
teaching other women, bringing other women into it, and taking the lead.
Yes. That is
We
true.
just don't know how to get on TV.
I don't know
Well,
what
I
is
think
that
it's
about
like
anyway.
what Patty said. A lot of us can't come out of the closet per se because of our jobs or our family or whatever. You know, we kind of have to do it on the down low. And
Yeah.
I don't know, men just seem to be able to get up there and just, wow, you know, turn it into something more scientific. Whereas people aren't
Yeah.
like, oh, they're crazy.
That is true.
Yeah.
Where women, we're more like, hey, I've been doing this forever, and I see things, hear things. You know, I'm psychic. So we're gonna be judged a little bit more. So I think we're cool with being on the down low. What do you think?
We're a bunch of hysterical women, right? Is that it? It's hysteria. We're seeing things. Drives me crazy.
I've been very blessed because my husband has always put me on a pedestal. So you know what? This is my second marriage. It took me a second time. But I will tell you, I'm very blessed with a man. So I see it in a totally different thing, but I do see it on the TV.
Yeah.
I will say a lot of that has to do with just because I have worked in production so much. What's watching, it's mostly younger women. And they want to see the men more than the women. So hopefully these new generation women want to see powerful women out there watching these shows instead. But I mean, I will say I've been very blessed, especially with most of the people I work with in the paranormal field. They're very equal with women and men. So I've been very blessed.
That's awesome.
So you're saying they're eye candy, right? Hey, that kind of is nice for once, right?
Yeah.
Women have been eye candy for years, and now men get to be eye candy. How great is that?
Well, that's why I started watching Zach. I mean, come on.
He only gets better with age.
It's so funny.
So what about you, Julia?
Well, my first investigation, and it's going to sound crazy, but was in 2017 with Miss Vanessa Hogel. And I have to say that the way I don't know if any of you know her, but the way she investigates and how it's just mind-boggling to me. So she really has taught me a lot, her and Gwen Clapper. And I also have learned a lot from all the teams. We've had over 50 teams investigate this home. And I have to say, as I started to unblock myself and get involved when they started coming here, it took me a few years because like I said before, I really didn't want much to do with it. But I started to really learn from a lot of these women that were coming into my house. And I think it's amazing.
So do you think the women are teaching more, or are the men?
I do. I mean,
what do the men do mostly out of the 50 teams? What are the men doing?
I think they're very intelligent, but the women,
they carry the equipment. Come on.
Yeah. Thank you. That, yeah.
Yeah, they carry the equipment, all right.
You want to know what's funny is usually Kim asks this question, but now I'm curious. What have you all learned in the paranormal?
Yes. If I could rephrase it just a little, we're all doing investigating. We're all out there searching for answers. And we're mostly looking to the TV shows and certain podcasts for what the research has shown. So what have you ladies, you know, based on your research, what have you learned about life after death? And
well, I have learned that we're all energy, and I honestly, after so much research, I think that we're really not going to have all the answers until we pass over one day. It's just so much to learn, and that's why I love doing the shows, because I look at it like I'm just sitting here and I'm learning from so many people, and I love it. I'm just taking it in every week, and it's great.
Has anyone here had an experience at all with like having a family member or a friend pass and then come back and then tell you, you know, something about what they saw or experienced at all?
You guess what? So I've been having a male spirit around me now lately, tugging at me, talking to me, appearing in my room. I was just with a psychic. I had a reading from a psychic on Tuesday, and she told me it was my dad. So she was able to channel what happened. Now, when he first passed, he went to the light right away. And once he got to the light, he found some other beings like angels and things and said, go down to my kids, go down and watch my family. And so, you know, through the light, they're able to communicate with us. And that's how we can call them forward. And she said that there was so many spirits that were around me from like picking up on ghost hunting. They were all just trying to get at my light, get at me. So she had to send them to the light too. And then I could call them to me when I want to speak to them. You know what I mean? So she said, when you're out there and you're ghost hunting, send them to the light. You're going to be doing yourself and them a favor, because they'll just follow you. But yeah, I was able to talk to my dad and ask questions, and she was able to give me so many answers and what it's like, and you know, and they're happy, and they just are looking after us now, you know, and basically, you know, that's about as much as I got out of it as far as the other life. But
you know, I want to add one little thing to that. I saw a psychic, this was years ago, and they made me think about something that I never really thought about before, because like in the intro, how I said, you know, is it the house? Is it me? What is it? She made this comment one time that ghost hunters are collectors of ghosts. And when they connect, we walk in and they connect with our energy or they connect with us, they just continue moving on with us. And I just thought, wow, I never really thought about that before, you know? So kind of blew my mind, and it made me think about things differently after that.
Kim, you're muted.
Hold on. Hey, you guys just made me think of something. Kim, the last time we were in Goldfield, I actually gonna speak to that. I came home, and about for a good 30 days after we got back from that whole investigation in the Goldfield High School and then the dish house that we stayed in, for like a good solid 30 days after we got home, I wanted whiskey all the time. All the time. Not that I didn't drink whiskey here and there, anyway. But for 30 days, like I seriously having an issue. Every single day I gotta have a whiskey. And it was starting to become like, what the hell is going on? And I looked, and you know, I hadn't taken a look myself, and I do this work. A little old Bart Miner guy came home with me from Goldville. I never told Kim that, by the way. And so he decided to hang out with me for a while. He used to be an alcoholic in the bar that we dropped into right before we headed on back to Vegas. And so it's very real. They do. They hang with you. You know, you're opening up to that space that they're excited to see you. Maybe they haven't seen people in a minute. Maybe they like your light, your energy, and they wanna move on. You know, so I agree with you, collector of souls, and we really do have it in that very.
I had one attachment.
Yeah, we love. They do. Some of them want to go home. Some of them are attaching because, you know, they're lost and they want some kind of nurturing or comfort. Some of them want to give a message to loved ones that are, you know, on the other side, and they see that you might be open and willing. And so there's so many roles that I think that we play. And women are just, you know, very sensitive by nature, very nurturing, very loving. We want to help. We have a big job in this field, you know, really multiple with the living and the dead. That's all I want to say.
It's so true. Now, Marie, didn't you have an attachment as well?
Yes. We've had quite a few different attachments. Honestly, Jay's had an attachment his whole life. But I mean, we are haunted survivors, so we have, stuff attached from us almost a lot of locations. I always tell people we do ghost tours out at Vulture City, and these people come out, never experienced and never gone on one of these. And I always tell them that stuff will start coming out on some of the equipment we have and everything. And I always tell everybody, like, it might not even be a spirit from the ghost town. It could be someone's spirit that's right there with them. I mean, everybody carries somebody with them, usually here and there. I mean, there are some I've met that hasn't had anything, and I mean, they must have a really nice, quiet life. I do not have a quiet life, I will tell you that.
Yeah, right.
It's pretty loud all the time. I mean, to be honest with you, between myself and my autistic son and Jay, I mean, it's pretty bad. I will say my 19-year-old is really into the paranormal now and does a lot of the investigating with us and everything. But he doesn't have the abilities yet, so he tries.
Awesome.
That's
Beth?
awesome.
We can't hear you, Beth.
Oh,
I
she
can't hear her
muted?
now.
What's going on? No, keep trying. Try for another minute. No, something happened.
Can you hear me
I
now?
don't hear anything.
Yes.
I can hear her.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yep,
Yes.
that's the best yet.
Yes.
Okay. So I don't know if this is just I don't know if this is something that's just happened to me. I'm kind of curious to see if any of y'all have ever experienced this. I think it was when we went to a house that, well, it was actually a funeral home, but this woman was going to move into it. And so we were asked to come in and go through it and see if we thought anything was there before she, went all in and moved into it. And I had an experience there that we were sitting in, which was kind of like, everybody's got the command center or the area where you got your monitor set up and all the equipment and everything. I got up there to go to the bathroom. I went to the bathroom and came to the bathroom door to walk out, and that's the last thing that I remember. So I was gone for like 45 minutes and had gone to where the bathroom was and sat down, and I sat, and I felt like I blacked out in a way. I don't know if any of y'all ever experienced you black out in a way like you don't know what's going on in the real world, like you're in a fog-like state or a dream-like state. And I was having a conversation with a woman that told me she was 23 years old and around. I don't know what that's all about, but because I've got to go back, there's already unfinished. I have more questions. So I'm trying to connect her again there. But after that, like for a week after that, it was almost like when I was in my home by myself, like the color in my home would change. I don't know if that makes sense. It's kind of like it was more monotone and a darker color. I don't know how to explain red and passing funerals, just kind of the feel you get when you're at a funeral home, kind of get weird vibes going those places. And that's kind of like what I felt in my own home. Like I don't know if she called me there, and I was still kind of maybe a little bit oppressed by the experience I had. So that was a really interesting experience for me. But I don't know if y'all ever had something like that, like all you told about that.
That's really interesting. I actually have a question for all of you, and it's just sort of paranormal related. I mean, I'm very much into Bigfoot. I actually have a Bigfoot team, West Coast Squatchers, and I'm also into aliens. Are any of you into like aliens or Bigfoot or any other like cryptid-like things?
Well, I'm not, but my husband is. He's very, very, very. He does a lot of research on Bigfoot, and we've had a lot of people on our show that, study it and research it, and I believe he's out there. It also could be maybe I think like maybe Bigfoot has something to do with, the aliens too.
Yeah.
I absolutely believe the
Do any
connection.
of you think that Bigfoot is a spiritual being? Possibly.
Whoa, that's a thought.
I've been in the Bigfoot world for a really long time. I grew up with my family, my dad and my uncles and other people in my family who are very interested in Bigfoot and Squatchy. So I grew up with this, and so it's something that's like kind of second nature for me. And I absolutely do believe that there is a connection between the spirit world, Bigfoot, and alien. And there's some kind of a connection going on there, because I've heard way too many stories of people who say they've seen Bigfoot and it will literally appear in front of their eyes.
Yep.
They will see white circle orb lights above like trees if they're in the woods, and they see, because that's normally where people will see Bigfoot. And they'll see these white lights circling like the trees, and it'll be like 3 or 4 lights, and all of a sudden Bigfoot will appear, and then it just disappears in front of their eyes, and it's like they can't make sense. Where did it go?
Yeah, where did he go?
Savina was shaking her head yes to Bigfoot. Do you know something about that?
No, I don't. But I was there when the Phoenix Lights happened, so I was able to see that. That was so cool. That was unbelievable. I was walking down the sidewalk. I lived in Arizona at that time, so I was walking down the sidewalk with my cousins, and we saw the lights appearing. But at first, I thought, it might be like an airplane or whatnot. And then I started getting the reports, and I started hearing about it. I was like, oh, my gosh. So I was able to see that. That was pretty interesting. And my sisters told me a few times that she's felt like she's been abducted. So but she won't go into detail. She says it's very delicate for her. So I haven't gotten that. Yeah.
Well, I have a question. What do you girls think about the Mothman? Because last night we had Travis Short on our show, and he's such an intelligent man. What do you guys think about the Mothman?
Okay, I'm actually gonna answer that really quick, because I actually had a very weird thing happen to me. Okay, so this was probably about 1.5 years ago. And my boyfriend and I were at my old house. I live in his house now. And it was a very interesting night. We were watching a paranormal show, and something about the Mothman came up. And I said to him, because of course, me being in the paranormal, I want to drag him into my world, And I said, do you know who the Mothman is? And he's like, no, I have no idea who that is. So of course now I'm like, oh, I need to educate you. You need to know who Mothman is. Okay, I tell him the whole story about Mothman. And maybe about half an hour to an hour later, we went on to bed. We're both exhausted. We lay down, and now here's this Mothman story that I creeped him out with. All of a sudden, out of nowhere, we hear this insane, crazy scream that sounds like human, cat, dog, creature. Like, you can't make sense of it, right? It's just like, and it literally sounded like it was in the room and outside and down the hall. It was just like everywhere. And we sat straight up, looked at each other, and he goes, oh my God, what was that? And I said, I don't know, but I'm going to tell you this. I've been in the paranormal for a really long time, and things don't really scare me, but that gave me the chills. Whatever it was, freaked us out. So then we tried to calm back down for a minute, and then all of a sudden you see him kind of lean up. Now I've got this glass door with these those vertical blinds, the big fat vertical blinds, and he's staring outside now. Now he's scared. Now he's just like, what's outside? And all of a sudden he goes, oh my God, what are those lights? What are those lights? And I go, I don't know, the street light. And he goes, no, it looks like lights. And so I go, I don't know what that.
I find that's scary. Whenever I hear about the Mothman, I think about the movie Jeepers Creepers.
Right?
Oh yeah.
The crazy thing was, we had the dog laying at the end of the bed, and as soon as we all heard the noise, the dog started barking, and then it leaned back like it was scared to death. And all of a sudden, I had the porch light on, so you could see everything out in the backyard. all of a sudden, from one side to the other, the whole thing blacked out.
Wow.
Okay, whatever it is now, I'm freaked out. So we sat there for hours. He's convinced the Mothman came to visit us.
Yeah, that would scare me. I would probably just run and I don't know,
keep
never
running.
come back.
I'm never
That would
staying
scare me.
again.
I wonder if it was one of the ghosts that followed you home or something, maybe. I don't know, one of our followers that come home with us.
That's normal for me, not for him.
Oh yeah, us too. I had to figure out a way to stop it though.
Matter of fact, he's all, "You're moving out of here. We're done. I'm not staying here anymore." I live here now. His house. So what about you guys? Do you have any experience with anything?
My husband and I have, we've experienced UFOs on 3 separate occasions together in different places. One of them was in our backyard.
Oh, wow.
And it was the weirdest thing. You know how they show it on TV that a spaceship is coming and there's kind of clouds forming around it in the front of it as it's moving? Well, we looked up and that's what we saw.
Wow.
Was clouds in the shape of, like a semicircle. And they were moving that fast that it was like something really low. And we both, we weren't stoned or anything. It was just, we were just sitting
So funny. There was a UFO sighting in Easton, PA, here in Easton, PA. That was funny.
That's funny.
I don't know if any of you remember that. Easton, PA did have a UFO sighting, and it was, I forget the year. It wasn't that long ago, maybe like 4 or 5 years ago. But I remember it was on the news. I have to look that up.
Yeah, I think there is a correlation between UFOs and other thing because they move in and out of dimensions. I believe in same dimensions, as a ghost and things. That there's those wormholes and those portals and their stargates. Whatever's out there can come through. So
Oh, Jeff Conkle says he saw a UFO.
Ah, you got to tell us about it someday.
Yeah. That's awesome. I've always wanted to see something about aliens or a UFO. I've never personally had I take that back. I did see something one time driving out to Las Vegas. And of course I have no idea what it was. I don't know, it was a UFO or it was like something military. But I was driving down that really long road. And if any of you have gone to Las Vegas, you're out in the middle of no man's land for like 7 hours. And it's just mountains on each side, nothing else. And all of a sudden, these 3, it looked like maybe small jets or something, kept whipping back and forth. They'd go, shoo, shoo, and they would go from one side of the mountain to the other side. But there was no turnaround. It was just there and back and there and back.
Yes.
And I saw that one time and I thought, whoa, what am I looking at? What am I seeing here? But I was so close to an area where they do military things that you just have a sense of what you're seeing. So I'm thinking that's got to be military related, So that would probably be the closest thing I've ever seen. But who knows? Who freaking knows what that was? I don't know.
Vulture City, I will say, after being out there, I will honestly be the first one. Jay is very into the Bigfoot, UFO, really wants to deep dive into it, learn more about it. Me, I'm like, okay, it could be there, it could might not be, but whatever.
Yep.
But us working out at Vulture, I will say, I'm an Air Force brat, so everything and we're not far from Luke Air Force Base. So I always that's that. That's another thing, and I'm always, telling them I'm debunking everything, and Jay hates it. He really does. He hates it all the time. But at Vulture, I will say we had about 30 people on our ghost tour one night, and we were walking up to the front of the ghost town, and all of a sudden this big beam of light shoots up in front of us, almost in front of this guy right in front of us, goes right there, stood there, goes straight down, and then goes straight back up and just disappears. And I'm like, okay. Now that makes me think like, okay,
Wow.
it's something else. I know Jay and my son have seen a lot of other stuff out there. The caretaker that lives on the property has seen stuff. So I know, I mean, there's must be something out there. I know we're bringing a UFO skywatch at the Vulture City Paracon for people that can experience that. So
I would absolutely love personally.
That would be great.
Things at these events and conventions, like more things about aliens, more things about Bigfoot. I would love to see that.
Yes. Well, I know you were talking about, I don't know if you're on the same team, Mike Casey. I thought you're
That is my team.
Yep, that's what I thought. He's coming out, and I know he's going to do something about Bigfoot this time. So, I mean, I would love it that people bring in. I mean, I know you guys asked, what have you, like, learned throughout the paranormal? To be honest with you, I think it's open mind. And to be honest with you, when I first started this whole thing, I had the closed mind. I really did. I thought everything was supposed to be this way and that way. But being in the paranormal field for, I don't even know how long now. I'm trying to think my son's age. He's 19 now. So quite a few years. But I will honestly tell you, open mind. You have to always be open to change what your beliefs are. Because every single person that you come in contact with will have a totally different outlook, and they can teach you something. Even somebody that's never even been part of the paranormal field. So I always say open mind is the biggest thing, and the whole UFO thing, Bigfoot, is part of that too. So I have to read my own mind.
That's so true, because I've actually been in the paranormal now. This is my 23rd year, and especially doing the podcast has taught me that you don't know everything, nor do I think I do. Believe me, I am not an expert, nor do I claim to be. But I've been in a really, really long time, and I learn things new all the time, and I love it. I love it.
Yes.
Everybody's got something different going on in there, and it's like they just say one thing, and it's like, whoa, like now I just, you know, it's like now I have a whole new way of thinking about it, and I love that.
Yep.
You know, the best thing I like about it is, like I mentioned earlier, I don't know a lot of people down here where I live that do it. So a lot of friends of mine that aren't believers, when something happens to them, they come to me right away. They confide in me. So they look for me. And I'm like, wow, like people are actually looking for me for information, what to do next. So that's awesome. Like, I really like that. I've had a few school classmates that have looked for me that I knew for a fact that they weren't into any of this. You know, they think, she's crazy. I don't know what she's doing. But then stuff happens to them. So they have pictures, videos, and they call me right away. And they're like, look for SAVINA. And they call me. I'm like, wow. So that's what I really enjoy. And the fact that from paranormal, what I've learned from paranormal is that, you know, before I wasn't very comfortable with death, but now I'm comfortable with death because I know, you know, there's something for each one of us. You know, everybody has a different journey. So with that,
I've actually had a near-death experience myself.
Oh, wow.
Oh, really?
Yes. Wow. Well, you can call it near-death. I mean, I wasn't in my body at the time, so.
What can you say? What can you tell us?
It changed me. It changed me to go through the experience. I was on an operating table already. I had almost died a couple of times in the last 3 days before this. This was the second surgery in 48 hours, which back at that time, you just didn't put someone under until 3 days had gone by. But they had to because I was going to die otherwise. So anyway, all of a sudden, I'm floating above the scene. I'm looking down at my body and the nurses and the doctors, and they're hurrying around and, you know, trying to revive me, what I've figured out. And what surprises me, thinking back on it, is it was like I didn't have a horse in the race. If I died, that was fine. If I woke up, that was fine. It didn't matter to me.
Yeah.
And it wasn't because I was seeing people or experiencing anything spiritual. It was just Well, that's interesting. That's really interesting.
Detached.
Wow. And yeah, totally detached. And I got bigger. I didn't go higher. I got bigger. And I could see the rooms on the other side of the walls. And then I could see, I was like in the next floor.
Oh, wow.
And I could see everything, but I could still see the room where they were working on my body.
Wow.
And I kept getting bigger and bigger and just kind of, wow, this is really interesting. Yeah. And then the next thing I knew, I was waking up in my room.
Wow.
I mean, I went back into my body and they carted me back to, actually, they took me to ICU after that. But
that gives me chills, Linda.
Yeah.
It really did.
It was an interesting experience.
Wow. Being paranormal, we all, and I'm sure we all agree that we believe in life after death. We're looking for ghosts.
Absolutely.
My boyfriend actually had an experience where he died. He had cancer several years ago, was in a coma, and actually died. And from the stories that he has told me, that what happened to him when he died and what he saw and what he believes in now, it just reassures exactly how I feel. And makes me realize that, we really do have life after death, and there's something more than just what we have here. So it just validates.
We're all connected. We're all one, and we're all connected. And that's why I wasn't going up. I was going out. I was getting larger. I was blending into the universe. I was able to see all parts.
Amazing.
Yeah. I mean, think about it.
Jeff wants to know why you're so quiet, Beth. Speak up.
Our Beth has had issues.
Beth's mic isn't working real good.
Beth, are you on a phone or a computer?
Yeah, I'm on my phone.
You might want to bring it closer to you.
Okay, can you hear me?
Kim, let's hear from Kim. Kim, do you know anything about life after death or any experiences?
Can you hear me? Have these other people mute if you can, because it's doing some kind of bleed through or something.
I hear something, yeah.
I hear it too.
What happened? You got to turn up your volume. Kim, turn up your volume. It's hard to hear you.
How about now?
Your speaker, or just come closer.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, but you're real low.
Okay, just make sure everybody's muted. It's the headset died. How about now?
Hello.
Okay.
It's the same, but go ahead.
Hold on. I have a bad connection. How about now?
Yeah, just go ahead and tell us. We'll listen.
Okay, perfect. So all the above to answer Jackie's question. I grew up, of course, in Anchorage, Alaska, and very often went to Canada. So there were a lot of legends, and I experienced a lot when I lived there, because we have a lot of land and a lot of vacant areas, a lot of trees, a lot of nature. And I experienced a lot of phenomenon there, and a lot of lights, mysterious lights. Of course, we have the amazing, northern lights, but there were many occasions that I know that I was experiencing UFO and alien activity. I've had my own personal experiences since I was a little girl, many different things where I've actually interacted with beings, but I've also seen a ship live. I was actually driving back from California to Arizona. One of you mentioned living in Arizona. I lived there too when those lights happened, the Phoenix lights. But I was driving with my mom, and it was super late at night. We decided to drive in the middle of the night to get back to Arizona. And we were driving through, like Jackie mentioned, those open fields, all that open land. It was very quiet. There was like hardly anybody on the road, and we were just quiet, contemplating, Mom and I was driving and she was in the passenger seat. And we were just cruising along. Of course, I drive really super fast, and out of the corner of our eye off to the right in the open field, we all of a sudden saw this structure that looked like a blimp. It almost felt like a blimp, and it was deadly quiet, and it was so huge, and it had the, you know, the triangle shape. It had the lights on it. There's no way that thing should have been silent, but it was very slow, meticulous, silent, and it was right off, and we both looked at it as we're driving, and there's no mistaking what that was. And it just basically took a look at us. We, for a split second, were a little nervous, and then it was just looking at us, kind of assessing us, and then it just right on by. I know what I saw. Yeah, I'm very much down the rabbit hole of the alien UFO, the Bigfoot,
Yes.
the cryptid, all of it. It all is connected. It's all relevant. I've seen a lot of things, and there's so many things that I just can't unsee or unknow, and all the stories of other people's experiences, that it's kind of like all above. It's just fascinating, and I just want to dive more myself personally into those things outside of the paranormal. So that will be my actual personal focus for this year, is going a little bit into a little bit different direction.
I'm so happy to hear that.
Huh?
I'm so happy to hear that, because, you know, I decided to do this Bigfoot group, and, you know, you don't really know that many people who have Bigfoot groups in the paranormal. And a lot of people are now like, oh, did you get out of the paranormal? And I'm like, no, I'm still in the paranormal. I'm just now doing something else, and something I grew up with. So I would love for any of you, or anyone that you know that loves doing it, go Bigfoot hunting with me. You'll have a great time. We normally just go camping. Like Mike and I just did a camp out up in like Northern California, actually near where the famous Patterson-Gimlin, you know, original film was shot. And if anyone knows the famous Bigfoot walking by and turning around and looking, that's the location we were at. So, but yeah, so it's a lot of fun.
And I also want to plug Vulture Mine. If you guys haven't been out there, that is an amazing experience. I was actually in the machine shop, Marie, with your husband. You weren't in there when we were doing an investigation when you guys did your first Paracon. And I was filming a big stone got thrown on the top of the building. That big thunk, and everybody heard it. It was a huge rock. Yeah, it was really cool. I love Vulture. That's a great experience. Please, everybody needs to get out there and go to that conference. But also, if it's okay, if I could mention it, don't forget the big Para-Unity conference in Las Vegas in December. If anybody doesn't know about that, make sure you attend and come out here.
Where is it? When is that?
It's December, technically December 10th and 11th this year at MGM Grand. The Las Vegas Para-Unity conference is going on. We got some big names coming out, so make sure you guys get on that website and check it out.
Oh, that's awesome. So, like, before we start winding things down a little bit, does anybody else, I know, Marie, you said earlier you've got the Vulture City Paracon. You want to remind us of the dates and times and what's going on with that, so people who jumped on will hear that?
Certainly. So Vulture City Paracon is October 8th through the 10th. Friday night on the 8th, we're actually doing a VIP party where you actually be able to up and close with all the guests coming out to speak and all that kind of stuff, plus be out there in the town as well. Saturday and Sunday, all day long, there'll be vendors, tons of vendors, amazing vendors this year, actually. And then you get to be right up there with all the speakers and stuff. Their conferences are Saturday and Sunday. We're doing the big ghost hunt on Saturday night, where you get to investigate with some of the amazing speakers that we're having out, and one of the big ones is John Zappis. I'm really excited. I'm really, really close with him, and I'm so glad I finally get to bring him out to Vulture.
Love John.
I will tell you, Scott Greenwald is actually going to be out there as well.
Oh, of course, I love Scott. Scott's my boy.
So I'm amazed. I'm just happy about everybody coming out. And then on Sunday night, Jeff Woodland is actually doing our first UFO Skywatch.
Oh,
it's going to be amazing. I know there's a lot of activity out there. I don't know much, so I'm glad we're bringing somebody in that knows about it.
That's amazing.
Right along with everybody else. So, but yeah, Vulture City Paracon, October 8th through the 10th. It's going to be an awesome one. I can't wait to hug all of my family. I can't wait.
That's so awesome. So what about the rest of you ladies? Do you have any events coming up? Anything happening? New, like, exciting podcasts? Any shows that you have coming up?
We want to hear from Beth.
Yeah.
Can y'all hear me?
Yeah.
Oh, good. I messed with my microphone stuff, so maybe it works. Jeff's a
Yes.
Yeah, I got a podcast going. My haunted experience. It's kind of, we spin the name off of our series that we have going. My paranormal experience. And so I got a couple of people coming on. This Sunday, I have Jody Breckenridge. She does the ghost walk tours in Jefferson, Texas. So I'm excited to hear some of her stories. She's a historian, knows a lot about the town, and been doing this for a really long time. So I'm interested to hear some of her stories about stuff that she's experienced and people that she's taken on her ghost walk. And then after that, I have Ron Haskett. He's got his thing that happened with him happened at the Melbourne Manor. And so he's going to come on. He's also going to be on one of our episodes. So I have a couple of people just coming on. Jeff Fitt, he builds the Ghost Box. He's on too. We're excited about that. But
well, that's really cool. Yeah. That's awesome. So now, what night does that come on and what time?
I remember Jody's coming on this Sunday at 8 p.m. Central. Everybody's 8 p.m. We try to hit Sundays, unless some people can't do Sunday. We had Del Zoppo yesterday, the medium. So we had her come on. It was really, really interesting last night. So we have special days to work around other people's schedules. We've actually had Nick Rock come on. It was great. He was very, very fun to interview. I really didn't have anything. He kind of took the show. So that's about it. We're doing a whole bunch of film, like I said, for our show that's going to go on the QSOM streaming service soon. So we're going to go out to California, Jackson, California, to interview, I will say his name, George Shoplin.
Oh, George Shoplin, yeah.
Yes, his wife, and hopefully get to go. They experienced the location where they had their experience that they want to talk about at. That's our goal. And we're going to investigate the place where each individual's had experience. So I'm excited about that.
At the jail?
I think the mine. Mine.
Oh, okay. Okay.
What he called their name.
Yeah. Now, Julia, don't you and your husband do like a reality TV show?
Yeah. Well, we had a lot of issues with the whole pandemic, so everything's kind of like on hold right now. Yeah. So, and we do have our podcast every Wednesday night at 10 p.m. on Paranormal King Radio Network. And I wish I had my calendar with me, but I don't. But we're booked all the way to the middle of May with like such amazing, amazing guests. I mean, I just love talking to everybody and learning from so many amazing people like yourselves.
Oh.
And that's Wednesday nights?
Wednesday nights on Paranormal King Radio Network, 10 p.m. EST.
Okay, and then so the show that you guys were doing, that's on hold?
Yes, right now everything's just on hold. We've ran into a few issues. We were filming at the house. Yeah. Nothing was it's very, very hard filming, as you all know, in your own haunted house. Things have gotten a lot better now. We had NASPR here July of 2020, and we definitely are in more of an understanding of what was happening here. So things have been pretty good. The house is still, I'm going to say it's still tainted, but the main thing that was here, I guess we had to stop like feeding into it and giving it its power, and it has been a lot better. So everything else has been put on hold. Like I said, it's not easy filming in a house that had so much activity at the time. So right now everything's just on hold.
Yeah.
So.
Well, maybe things will pick up soon.
Yeah.
So, Linda, I have a question for you about the house. Now, do you hold events at the house? Do you have anything special coming up? Oh, you're muted.
We had a train go by, and I didn't want y'all to be bothered by the train. When there's not a international pandemic, yes, we have events at the house. But what we have limited it to now is like what's going on over there tonight. There's a party of like 8 or 10 people. They're all related. We have groups there almost every weekend and during the week sometimes, but they're smaller groups. Once things settle down a little more about the COVID, we have several teams that have events where there'll be a special person or what have you, and they put on a course or a class on how to use equipment and those kind of things. And those are larger than what we have going on right now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'm going to be driving through that area on March 30th. Don't be surprised if I stop by.
Well, I know we have a booking for the 31st, but the 30th, I don't think we do. You might get to walk in.
I would love
to. Great.
That would be awesome. I actually took my boyfriend, Kim, and I just did a show at David Omen's house, the Omen House.
Oh, love David Omen.
Yes,
he's awesome.
And that was my boyfriend's very first experience, and that house was active that night.
Wow.
Oh, that's always good.
Yeah. So if I bring him, it's just going to be me and him. So I'm going to be dragging his butt in there. Experience number 2.
Oh,
you got it.
I just put him on the team, the Bigfoot team. So he's getting to go do that with me as well. So I'm like, he's just 100% in. If you're going to be in my life, you got to be in. Right?
Now, I do speak at the Jefferson. What does she call that?
It's the History, Haunts, and Legends.
It's History, Haunts, and Legends. That's right. It's usually the first April weekend and the first November weekend, but they had to delay it this year, and I already had something scheduled for the time that they had to delay it to, so it won't be there this year or this spring, but I'll be there in the fall. And don't forget my books.
Oh, that's right.
Look for me on Amazon.com.
When you let groups come in, is there like a fee for the night? Like, tell us so people out there know, like, if you want to come, what are they looking at?
If you get a group together, there's a set fee, and it's kind of like Great Wolf Lodge. Depends on what night of the week it is, how much it costs. Because everybody wants Saturday night. So Saturday is our most expensive night. The cheapest you can do is during the week for $150. You can have up to 10 people. It's a 3,000 square foot house, and you have the run of the house. I give you a key, and
Are you allowed to sleep in it?
Oh yeah.
I want to go. Let's get
I might rent that house.
Oh yeah.
I want to go. Let's do it.
I'm going downstairs right now to talk to him. I have to go.
Now, it's not a bed and breakfast, but it does have a fully functional kitchen and a bathroom. So, and there's couches and places to take a nap.
Wow. Okay, so I might be booking that on the 30th, so don't put anything else down.
You'll have a good time, especially if there's only 2 of you.
Yeah, that'll be amazing. You'll be hearing from me.
Okay.
That's awesome. What about you other ladies? Do you have anything else like going on? What about you, Savina? Do you do events?
I don't do events at the current moment. It's really hard for me to get away from work as well. So I'm a single mom, 4 kids, full custody. So here and there, whenever I can, I will, but not anytime soon.
But you're still ghost hunting with the team, right?
Oh, yes, I am. Yes.
Do you have
Whenever
any spots booked for investigations?
I don't have anything right now. I'm doing the Dallas Paracon in August.
Oh, great.
Well, that's amazing.
Where is that?
It's gonna be in Dallas downtown. I forgot which hotel it was. I
Who's putting it on?
It's what's your name? I forgot.
Is it the K Hutchins?
The what? I'm sorry.
Is it the K Bailey? Is it K Bailey Hutchins?
Yeah, it's that one.
Hey, Bailey Hutchison?
Yeah. I'm going to it. I'm not a guest. I'm not a speaker, but I am actually my first Paracon. Well, actually, last night, and when I go to Chad Clack's at the Jefferson Hotel October 6th. So I'll be. I guess
I'll see you there.
I'll get to meet you guys, ladies, there at the Texas Paracon.
Yes. Yeah, I'll see you there.
Everybody's going?
All right.
I want to go.
Well,
My battery's about to die.
What's going on with you, Kim? What's coming up?
Nothing at the moment. Stay tuned for later. Most of my personal time off to go travel and go do some investigations, and that's what I've got on my agenda right now. I'm actually really excited. In August, I'm going to the Conjuring House. I'm going to take a trip through that area.
Ooh.
Wow. That's big.
Yeah.
It is big.
You're going to the Conjuring House? You're going to the Conjuring House in August? Who are you going with?
Yeah, spill the tea, Kim.
Well, let's do a different day on that one. It's a group. It's a current team in Las Vegas that I'm going with, like 3 people.
Okay, that's good.
Well, I said what I had going on. What do you have going on, Kim?
I don't have. Go ahead, Kim. I'm going to mute.
Well, no, let's hear from Kirsten. She dropped off and I just picked her up.
Oh, there you are.
You're muted. You're muted.
Oh no.
We can't hear you.
That's what happens with the mute button. You forget you're
What's going
muted.
There you are.
Okay, can you hear me?
We can hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, something happened. My Wi-Fi crashed or something. I don't know, but I dropped right off and I couldn't get back on. So I got it now.
So what do you got
Just in
coming
time
up?
to say goodbye to everybody, basically. We have another 3 minutes or so.
We were just asking all the ladies if they had anything special coming up. Like, are you going to be doing any events or any new podcasts or anything like a
We
show?
are, yeah, we're starting our first series. We're doing some YouTubes. We'll see how it goes. None of us are very good at video, so we're really struggling with that. But it's interesting, you know. I won't lie. I like the investigating, but the production work is not my forte. So
really hard.
yeah, it's difficult. It's time consuming, and
You have to give those people behind the camera so much credit because they all do an amazing job, all of you. It's hard.
yeah, it's crazy how hard it is. I had no idea.
Built for my paranormal experience, and those cameras, I've dislocated my shoulder twice, and this is where I want to carry the camera all the time, and it is horrible. I'm like shaking. It is hard work to carry those cameras around.
Yeah.
Yeah, I never volunteer for that job. Like, no, that's your job. That stuff's heavy. So before we all take off, is there anything else that anybody would like to say?
Well, I just want to say thank you for having me on, and you guys were all amazing. And Thank you very
Thank
much.
you for coming on.
It's
Thank
very
you.
honored.
Thank you for all you do, ladies, for your
And I wanna say
contributions,
thank
really.
you for putting all these amazing women together in one spot and being able to talk. So, I mean,
Yes,
thank
thank
you
you.
for you two to actually doing this. So, I mean, it means a lot to us women.
Oh, well, you're very welcome. And we want to thank you all very much. We appreciate you all and everything that you do.
Yes. Thanks again. And we hope to see everyone soon somewhere, sometime, someplace.
Oh, we'll connect again.
Yes.
Absolutely.
All right.
Well,
All right,
thank you.
everyone, have a beautiful night.
Bye.
Okay, everybody. Thank you.
Good night.
Bye.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Night, Ma. Good night, Pa.
Good night, John. Bye.
See Kim. Well, Kim's still there. I can see her name.
Yeah, I'm still here.
Yeah, right. Finally. There I am. Hey. No, so thanks, guys. It was awesome. It's finally.
Oh, you're very welcome. Thanks again for coming.
I will. Bye.
All right.
Bye.
Yeah.
All right. So that's going to wrap up the women's panel. It was a great time.
Awesome. Thank you again, everyone who came on tonight. And we want to say one more time, the Women's Appreciation Week. This is why we did this show. And we appreciate all of you women in the paranormal and all you women in our lives. And you mean the world to us. So thank you.
Absolutely. All right. We'll see you next time on the next adventure here on Midnight Gypsies. Everyone have